excited to hear these guys talk. So we've got our founders panel. I would love if instead of me reading what you guys have found and all the other things you've done, if each one of you could just sort of go through and give us a little bit about who you are. And again, I can read it, but I think it would be so much more authentic. We can just get a really awesome conversation going.
So I'm a co-founder of Slate. We sell high-protein chocolate milks and lattes.
I'm Scott Perkins. I'm the founder of what was originally ROMWOD, that is rebranded to Pliability, and we provide basically stretching and mobility for athletes.
Awesome. John Scheinman, co-founder and CEO of FitBiomics. We're a microbiome company developing next-gen probiotics for human health and longevity solutions. Also proud to say New Yorker, born and raised. So glad to be here, New York strong.
I'm Michael Chernow. You guys know me by now. And the craziest thing just happened. I grew up with this guy. Actually, I haven't seen him since like 7th grade. That's amazing.
Since your bar mitzvah, pretty much.
That's fucking insane.
That's crazy.
Wow. All right, I'm the founder of Creatures of Habit. And the Meatball Shop in Seymour's.
And?
Oh, man. What? And what?
Don't you have more stuff?
No. Got it all. We hit it all.
Okay.
So there's no script for this panel, but hopefully the intention is both to get questions from you guys on sort of what you want to hear from 4 people who have been through it, created things, failed, had successes, all of the different areas of it. And then also just if you could give to us sort of what's important to you in this journey, right? You're sitting up here on a panel of founders in an industry where hundreds of people are always trying to find the next thing, right? And there's a world in which the 4 of you did. And what could you tell all of us about that? And vice versa. What would you guys want to ask them about their successes and their failures and them being bold and all of the different things? So I'm going to let you guys take it from here.
Okay. I mean, I'll start, I guess. I think that, so we sell high-protein chocolate milks and lattes. And I think that when we first started, one thing we really wanted to focus on is what is the problem we're actually solving. And I think a lot of people, like I know Mike went through this too, is when you launch a company, you think you're solving one problem, and then you realize a much larger problem, and then you attack that problem. So we talk to a lot of early stage founders now that are either still figuring out, we like to think we're still figuring it out too. We've had a little bit of success, but don't think just because you're starting a company to solve an individual problem that you have to stay true to that. Like we thought we were creating healthy chocolate milk. What we ended up realizing is that people wanted a high protein milkshake and a high protein coffee that was better for their bodies and their planet. We say that we thought we were selling milk. We sell strength. We sell the feeling of being strong, and that's what we realized about 1.5 years in. And then like our North Star, which we thought was just like healthy chocolate milk, completely shifted, and this much larger problem of healthy, high protein foods became clear, and now that's what we're attacking. So start with a problem, try to solve that problem, keep an open mind to a much larger problem as the journey progresses, is what I'd say.
I'll piggyback off that a little bit. We went in and we basically noticed that there was a hole in the market for athletes where they weren't focusing on their mobility. They were focusing on strength and performance, and they weren't really understanding the mechanics of how mobility affected those things. So we went in and we built a product that we thought was for athletes, and we actually found that it was for grandma that wanted to be able to pick up her kid, and mom that wanted to run down the street, and that movement is more for life. Oh my goodness. No worries. The movement is more like a function of life and a function of humanity in general versus just, being able to move in athletics. It's being able to move in all ways. And this is expanded into, breath work and mental wellness, and just our customer, speaking back on what Manny said, has really taught us that you start on one path and you end up in a completely different area. It's part of the reason why we rebranded and expanded across the board.
Amen. Yeah, I totally agree. I think, the notion of building something to address critical health needs, in our case, my background, I got a PhD in biomedicine and then really got into biotechnology. And I think traditionally, you go down a therapeutic path, 10 years, $1 billion to develop a drug to treat disease. But from our perspective, there has to be faster ways to create health solutions that are accessible to broader populations. So we're using biotechnology really as a function of consumer health and preventative medicine. So not treating disease, but preventing it with microbiome innovations. So we develop probiotics that could solve all sorts of interesting issues like sleep health, right? 100 million Americans suffer from insomnia, right? And there's no real solutions for that, especially coming out of the pandemic. We also have probiotics that eat lactic acid to fight fatigue and promote endurance, right? So if you think about chronic fatigue and implications from long COVID. So really for us, it's developing innovations that have real world like needs that we can make accessible to broader populations. But I also agree, like every day is a new adventure in a startup. So it's all about like minimal viable product, getting something to market, learning, iterating, and optimizing, right? I think over-engineering is really an enemy of progress and development. So I totally agree.
You're so smart, dude. I'm like, I mean, I just know you. And I mean, you're smart, but it's just so crazy. It's amazing. I'm sitting. I'm like having flashbacks. This is how we chill from '93 till. But I think I said it earlier. Like, entrepreneurship is incredibly challenging and hard. And looking from the outside, you see stuff on social media, you see stuff, people posting about it, you see things in the world out in the open, and you're like, oh, they're fucking killing it. And the truth of the matter is that it's really hard. It's just like at every stage of development, every phase of growth, it's just really hard. I've been doing it, since 2009, and I've built a few businesses, and there are, I kind of equate it to this entrepreneurship. It's like climbing Mount Everest, right? If you have that like grit and that get back up mentality, no matter what, like you fight hard no matter what. Getting to the top of Mount Everest is always going to be insanely hard. It is always going to be insanely hard. So entrepreneurship is always going to be insanely hard. And here's the crazy thing: you train for years to climb Mount Everest. Years, and you spend an enormous amount of money, and you surround yourself with all the right people, and then you hike up this thing, and you climb and you hike, and sometimes it can take weeks. If the weather's not right, it could take months to actually summit, and then you get to the summit, and you spend like 6 minutes there, max. And you look around, the people that are up there with you, and you're like, holy shit, we just did this thing. And then you come back down, and you do it all over again. And that's like that is the world that we all live in, right? And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, but it's really, really hard. And I empower everybody to do it. Everybody to try at least once, right? Because it's just like, I could see Manny and we could share stories and we can high five on shit. And then I could say, yo, dude, we're struggling. We got issues. We're working on this and we're working on that, and he'll share some of his war stories, and so it's just like there's something about it that is so powerful, and it doesn't exist without people, right? It's like.
Lead me to a question for you, for all of you, as you say that, and the people, like, for each one of you, how important is or was community in what you built? And I ask that because I think Strong is built on community, and what you just described about being able to speak with Manny and have that interconnection around the business. Like, what would you say to everybody here, knowing Strong as a community, in how the community around you impacted your business?
I'll start. So there's community like people here, right? Like friends. And then we think of community more like consumers. We always say we do not want to sell products, we want to build a brand. If there's $1 we can make today, or potentially 100 we can make tomorrow, we will always freaking wait, because we want people, when they see the Slate tag, the Slate logo, to think those are good fucking people before anything else. Because it always comes back. Like, you hear about great products that fail because co-founder split, co-founder, like, scum, whatever. Like, it always starts with the people on the team. And so when we hire people, like to be a part of our team, employees, interns, ambassadors, we always say, are they good people? And like that's where it always begins. And word gets out. Like when I met Mike, I was like, whatever the Slate team can do to help Creatures, we are going to do, because this is a good person. Like we want to help his business, and he's now a Slate partner too, and part of our business. And so when we think about community, it's not just the people on our team, it's not just the people here, it's your customers are your community. Like we consider customer service community manager. So it's like you're building a brand, you're not trying to sell products. I think we learned that very, very early, and it's been very helpful.
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. Before ROMWOD rebranded to Pliability, ROMWOD was a CrossFit brand. It was built and specifically run in the CrossFit market. And anyone that knows the CrossFit market knows that is the definition of community. And you're talking to a tech guy that came out, you know, I started straight out of high school, built a digital agency. I was not like really connected to fitness or understanding of this concept until I came in and started running ROMWOD effectively. Coming into the CrossFit market, coming into that community taught me the meaning of it. Not only from a business standpoint of what, you know, the tribal opportunity CrossFit and the fitness markets are, but just the human element of it. I mean, that's how I met Kenny. Kenny is, you know, now I spend multiple days a week with him, and, you know, he's a big part of why we're here in New York. And it's all based on the fact that there's common connection, common goals, and just the nature of people being able to work together.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll just say a couple of things. One, personally, it's my goal to always be like the dumbest person in the room. I think when you build teams and you try to do something that's very challenging, you need very smart and dedicated people around you. And personally, I think you need diversity of thought, right? That's how evolution happens. You have people from different backgrounds working together to create something novel. And I'll just say, you know, even, again, I did my postdoc, you know, at Harvard in Boston, and everyone told me, like, you have to start a biotech company either in Boston or in the Bay Area. I was like, all right, I'm moving back home to build a company here because this community means something to me. And one of my goals is to make New York the leader in next generation health, right? And building off the diversity in this city, right? To create something that's transformative in society. So, you know, I think that notion of having really smart, diverse people around you and just bridging the gap. I think one of the problems in society today is like everyone's in their own silo. And I think part of our vision is taking cutting edge technology and infusing it with a little bit of pop culture, right? And that's how you create something very disruptive. And that's what we're trying to do at FitBiomics.
Community is everything. Community has always been everything. Undeniable for the Meatball Shop, which is a restaurant I opened up in 2010, to Seymour's, a restaurant that I opened up in 2015, and then really Creatures of Habit. You know, my team took me aside, or not took me aside actually, put me straight up on blast on a team call, and they said, dude, we found out that, you know, a large percentage of our subscribers do CrossFit, and you bodybuild. You should do CrossFit. And I was like, okay. And that's how much community means to me. The very next day, I went to the closest CrossFit gym, and I fully immersed myself in the CrossFit community. I'm talking about fully immersed myself. Like I was like knocking on every single pro CrossFit athlete's door, telling them I wanted to be a fucking CrossFit Games athlete. I was like, I'm fucking in. And I built this community. And now the CrossFit community supports Creatures of Habit. It is literally our community. The vast majority of the people that really know about Creatures of Habit is the fitness community, but predominantly the world of CrossFit. And so I couldn't agree more with the idea that CrossFit, that community is truly what is going to float a business and give a business not only sustainability, but like we talk about on the stage today, I mean, all day long, I think every single person that presented, longevity was a part of their shtick. It was a part of their thing because longevity is really what matters, right? Like how long can you sustain happiness and success? Like it's not about like the flash in the pan. It's about like, boom, you want this thing to go, like legacy is what you're looking for. And the only way that happens, the only way legacy actually takes shape, in my mind, in my opinion, is when you build a community of people around you that are raving fans that fucking love it. And the only way that happens is if you believe in it as much as they want to believe in it.
That's amazing. I mean, I could ask you guys questions for the rest of the night. I know we're going to get shut off in a minute, so I do want to have the opportunity to bring some questions from you guys. So go ahead, yeah.
So I know community is really, really important in business, but how important is business mentorship? And if it is important, how do you guys align yourselves with mentors? If it is important.
You should take that one.
Yeah.
Mike, yeah.
Yeah.
I met 3 people here that you're the mentor to, so.
I tried to be one of his mentors.
You know, I kind of think of mentorship is I always have coaches in every area of my life. I have a fitness coach. I typically have someone who helps me with nutrition if it's not my fitness coach. And I typically have some sort of a life coach. And I always have a sponsor because I'm in sobriety. So I've been sober for a long time. So I always have somebody who is just like overarching umbrella I can call no matter what. And I think that has put me in a position to know that I am only successful when I feel like I have a support system around me. And so I think for our business, I am, and I think Jen made it very clear, I am not ashamed or bashful in any way to ask for help. I literally think that the only way to get from want to have is to do, and the do part, at least in the beginning, is asking for as much help as humanly possible. So if anybody in this room is an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur and really wants to, and I mean like I'm trying to be more of a speaker on stage. Like, this is something that I want to do. This is something that I love to do. I don't shut the fuck up. These guys are probably like, shut the fuck up, dude. But I'm just here to say, like, Kenny asked me to do this, and I was like, dude, I will do this for you for free forever. This is what I want to do. I'm asking for help. I'm practicing. And so I would just say mentorship is everything in regards to leveling up in a way that you cannot possibly do without mentorship. My opinion.
So I'm going to get yelled at again if we don't wrap up shortly. What's our time? Do we have like 1 minute? Can we take another question? All right, can somebody give us a 1 minute question? Yeah.
About the probiotics, are you working on anything from a diagnostic standpoint in terms of how to help diagnose that and then work with the community like gastros and rheumatologists and stuff?
Yeah, so just briefly, so not necessarily diagnosing disease states, but the opposite approach, looking at the most fit people in the world, the 0.01% of the population, what's unique or enriched in them that drives optimal health. We then decode that and translate that into probiotics for everyone. But absolutely, a lot of the technology has happened, and we've translated that. So looking for partnerships, to help us make these innovations broadly accessible. 100% agree on the mentorship part. By the way, I'll say that.
See,
Yeah, we could chat.
Yeah.
We could chat.
basically,
we could follow
you
up.
just said you're going to reverse engineer looking at disease to wellness, which is pretty epic. And
Exactly.
also that you don't like to be the smartest person in the room, and then I'm like, but I don't know if that's always true because you did good.
I don't think he likes to. I think it's hard for him not to be. The guy's a fucking genius.
You guys, thank you so much.
Thank
This
you.
is an awesome panel. What a great event.